Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today I would like to talk about my November favourites. So, there really weren't that many new favourites throughout November, as I've maintained throughout the year, and you might have got sick of me saying, November into December gets incredibly busy for me, as this month in particular, and November meant that I didn't really inhale any new media. But in terms of books, I enjoyed Rare Singles by Benjamin Myers. I have a review of that on this channel. It was a brilliant tale of friendship, and quite honestly, I have been recommending this book to anybody who comes into the shop and is after something light-hearted, which might have some darker undertones there, but at the heart of it is all about human connection. And I left this book wanting to read everything Benjamin Myers had written, despite the fact I know that there is a huge scope of change within his work. Like, he doesn't stick to the same book. You could not predict what he's going to write next. And I think that I like that, and I think that I want to go and see what else he has out there. Next, I have Driftnet by Lynn Anderson. And this was the first book in the series. And we've been getting these books in the charity shop for ages, and I read this one incredibly quickly. I was at 3 pages a minute with this, and it reminded me of what I liked about this era of crime fiction. I think this book came out in 2003. It very much reminded me of Waking the Dead and that sort of thing, where a forensic scientist was the main character and we got to see her life outside of being the detective. The crime wasn't really central to it, and like, I predicted who the murderer was going to be from the off, but I want to see how this series progresses and if the characters' lives are still going to be as prevalent in later books as they are in the first book. I do know from looking at one of the later books at the charity shop that the chapters get a lot shorter and snappier, so I am interested in seeing how this progresses, and I'm really glad that this is a series that there is so much of out there, because it means that I can invest a bit of time in the books and in the characters. And then the final book here was a book that I carried over from October, and is Mr. Scarborough's Family by Anthony Trollope. I buddy read this with Katie of Books and Things, and it was a bit of a Anthony Trollope book where I didn't expect the intrigue to be held as well as it was. And I'm aware that Anthony Trollope wasn't known for writing books with intrigue in them, but I was. Part of me did get annoyed about how often people would talk about how much they hated Harry. But overall, I really liked that the core family of this was just so vindictive. Every person within this family was a villain in their own right, and it was really good to watch them fight against each other. Like, today we could record this as a drama, and I think that people would settle down for it. You could just take this entire story and you could turn it into a soap opera for a new generation. Just brilliant, really. And I love the interplay of characters, and it felt exotic because they kept mentioning, was it Monte Carlo, and I had never thought about that place in Victorian England before, and it just felt like I was seeing something I'd never seen within Victorian fiction. And I don't know why I didn't expect that of Anthony Trollope, considering Harry Heathcote's set in Australia, but it just shocked me in a good way. Then we will move on to TV and film, and all of this is going to be stuff that I've talked about before, so I'm going to mention Drag Race UK Series 6. I had petered out watching Drag Race UK over the last few years. From about Series 3 onwards, I wasn't really enjoying it. I felt like it was a bit stuck in a rut, and so I had watched 3 and 4 and didn't particularly care for them, couldn't tell you who was in either series, and then I stopped watching Series 5 rather quickly. I don't know why I got so invested in Drag Race UK this year, but it was something that I really looked forward to watching each week. I liked seeing how the characters progressed. I actually liked seeing, I'm calling them characters, but I liked the people there, and I liked hearing their stories, and it felt like there was a lot of friendship, despite the fact there was a bit of animosity shown on the screen. I did like this series for the most part, and I'm not too happy that we didn't get a double win, but regularly I wish there'd been double wins for series. For me, this was very much like Bianca Del Rio against Adore Delano in Series 6 of the US series. Then I have Bob's Burgers. The 14th series started airing on Disney+, and this has been a staple for me for years now. I could not say how long I've been watching this. I regularly rewatch the Christmas episodes. Indeed, I'm going through a rewatch of that now because of the season of which we are in, and I am very much looking forward to getting to The Bleakening, because that is probably one of my favourite Christmas specials. I have been known to watch this in March. And something I have not watched in years came on a Sunday night whilst I was doing a jigsaw. And it was I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, hosted by Ant and Dec. It was in its 24th series, I think, and I haven't watched this since pre-COVID. I could not tell you when I last watched it. I could not tell you the celebrities that have been on there over the last 6 years probably, but it came on a Sunday night and I just sat there and watched it whilst doing a jigsaw, and then ended up following most of the series. I did miss maybe a week's worth of episodes, which is probably why it went a lot faster for me than it did for anybody else, because of other things I had on. But it was nice to dip in and out of, and people seemed to be friendly on there, and I know it's heavily produced and I could see how heavily produced it was. But I didn't have a problem with that this time, and it was just a bit of light, mindless television to watch on an evening, and I was there for it. And then let's move on to the music, starting with Ethel Cain. I've heard Ethel Cain before and did not realise that I had, but the song that got me this month was American Teenager. It reminded me of classic songs that I've really enjoyed, like a little bit of rock. I can't remember which song it is that the music in here reminded me of, but I really enjoy this song and re-listen to it, which to me is always a good sign. Then we have What a Relief by Katie Gavin. Here I'm talking about the entire album. This is a brilliant bath album. I've talked about this phenomenon before. I like an album to play while I'm in the bath that is just nice and slow and doesn't go too fast or too hard. It's just nice music to relax to with meaning behind it, and I get that with What a Relief by Katie Gavin. There are songs on here that do move a bit faster and you could listen to them in the car whilst just speeding along in a chase from the police, but you're probably going to do that with casual drug use, if I'm being honest. But I thoroughly enjoy this album. I think it's just so well curated. I like the music there. It's got a country aspect to it that I hadn't expected because of Katie being the main singer in Moona. And it's nice to see her break away from that, but also for her bandmates to be so supportive of that too. Very much enjoyed this album and look forward to re-listening to it, probably while I'm in the bath, if I'm being honest. And now I think I've mentioned the next song before, but I've been listening to it a lot, and that is Pages by Nina Nesbitt. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about this song, but it's just firmly got me in its grip. That's all I can say about it. I keep listening and re-listening to this song. It's made it onto several quiet, soft mixes that I tend to listen to in the bath. I'm talking about myself in the bath a lot at the moment, but it's made it there, and I just sit there and I just wonder at it because it's such brilliant storytelling, such brilliant music, and so emotive, at least in my opinion. And I thoroughly recommend this one, as I do all the songs. My Spotify Wrapped was completely ruined this year by the fact that I kept playing 60s music at the shop earlier in the year. And so my favourite song of the year was not the top song on Spotify Wrapped, and I probably will have to go through all of my liked songs of the last year to ascertain which one I think I like the best, because it certainly wasn't what Spotify said, nor were my top artists on there. But these things happen when you decide that you're just going to play all about 60s all day, every day at the charity shop. One of the perils of working in retail is ruining your Spotify Wrapped. Anyway, that's me. What have you liked in November? Feel free to let me know in their comments. Tell me what music you've enjoyed. Will you listen to any of the songs I've recommended? Were you watching any of the telly? Yeah, send me some show recommendations. That's fun too. Also podcast recommendations, because we shunning those a bit. Not shunning, that's not true. I just haven't listened to as many podcasts this month as I probably ought to. Anyway, I look forward to those recommendations, and I look forward to talking to you in the comments. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, because until next time, that is all.